Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Audio Rain Books. I am very happy to share with you. If you like this audiobook, please subscribe and support my channel and leave comments. Let's move on to the book.
79. Henry Ford quotes to run a successful life and business. Find here the best motivational quotes said by Henry Ford to find some motivation for success in business and life. Henry Ford was an American industrialist, business magnate, founder of the Ford Motor Company. He also created the Model T in 1908 and developed the assembly line mode of production, which revolutionized the automotive industry. He was a world-renowned business leader. His introduction of the automobile to the mass market transformed agricultural economies into prosperous industrial and urban economies in the United States and even around the world. Here are some motivational Henry Ford quotes that will help you to find some motivation in life and business. Henry Ford quotes to learn from mistake and failure. 1. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. Henry Ford. 2. There is no disgrace in honest failure. There is disgrace in fearing to fail. Henry Ford. 3. Even a mistake may turn out to be the one thing necessary to a worthwhile achievement. Henry Ford. 4. The failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Henry Ford. Success quotes by Henry Ford. 5. The whole secret of a successful life is to find out what is one's destiny to do, and then do it. Henry Ford. 6. Success is 99% failure. Henry Ford. 7. To do more for the world than the world does for you, that is a success. Henry Ford. 8. Before everything else, getting ready is the secret of success. Henry Ford. Henry Ford quotes on coming together. 9. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is a success. Henry Ford. 10. I am looking for a lot of men who have an infinite capacity to not know what can't be done. Henry Ford. 11. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. Henry Ford. 12. If there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Henry Ford. 13. There is joy in work. There is no happiness except in the realization that we have accomplished something. Henry Ford. Henry Ford quotes on innovation and progress. 14. I invented nothing new. I simply assembled the discoveries of other men behind whom were centuries of work. Had I worked 50 or 10 or even 5 years before, I would have failed. So it is with every new thing. Henry Ford. 15. Progress happens when all the factors that make for it are ready, and then it is inevitable. To teach that a comparatively few men are responsible for the greatest forward steps of mankind is the worst sort of nonsense. Henry Ford. 16. There are 3 things that grow more precious with age: old wood to burn, old books to read, and old friends to enjoy. Henry Ford. 17. Don't find fault, find a remedy. Henry Ford. Henry Ford quotes on learning in life and work. "18. The way to learn to do things is to do things. The way to learn a trade is to work at it. Success teaches how to succeed. Begin with the determination to succeed, and the work is half done already." Henry Ford. "19. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young." Henry Ford. 20. As we advance in life, we learn the limits of our abilities. Henry Ford. 21. It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Henry Ford. 22. You can't learn in school what the world is going to do next year. Henry Ford. 23. You will find men who want to be carried on the shoulders of others, who think that the world owes them a living. They don't seem to see that we must all lift together and pull together. Henry Ford. Henry Ford quotes on money. "24. Money doesn't change men, it merely unmasks them. If a man is naturally selfish or arrogant or greedy, the money brings that out, that's all." Henry Ford. 25. Money is like an arm or leg, use it or lose it. Henry Ford. 26. If money is your hope for independence, you will never have it. The only real security that a man will have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. Henry Ford. 27. Money is like an arm or leg, use it or lose it. Henry Ford. 28. Speculation is only a word covering the making of money out of the manipulation of prices, instead of supplying goods and services. Henry Ford. 29. The highest use of capital is not to make more money, but to make money do more for the betterment of life. Henry Ford. Famous Henry Ford quotes. "30. History is more or less bunk. It's tradition. We don't want tradition. We want to live in the present, and the only history that is worth a tinker's damn is the history we made today." Henry Ford. 31. Faith without action is a delusion. Faith does not wait for miracles, but produces them. If you think you can, or if you think you can't, you are right. Henry Ford. 32. Vision without execution is just hallucination. Henry Ford. 33. Chop your own wood, and it will warm you twice. Henry Ford. 34. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Henry Ford. 35. I see no advantage in these new clocks. They run no faster than the ones made 100 years ago. Henry Ford. 36. Capital punishment is as fundamentally wrong as a cure for crime as charity is wrong as a cure for poverty. Henry Ford. 37. I cannot discover that anyone knows enough to say definitely what is and what is not possible. Henry Ford. 38. Quality means doing it right when no one is looking. Henry Ford. 39. Time and money spent in helping men to do more for themselves is far better than mere giving. Henry Ford. Henry Ford quotes for business motivation. 40. A business absolutely devoted to service will have only one worry about profits. They will be embarrassingly large. Henry Ford. 41. A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. Henry Ford. 42. A market is never saturated with a good product, but it is very quickly saturated with a bad one. Henry Ford. 43. Business is never so healthy as when, like a chicken, it must do a certain amount of scratching around for what it gets. Henry Ford. 44. Competition is the keen cutting edge of business, always shaving away at costs. Henry Ford. 45. I do not believe a man can ever leave his business. He ought to think of it by day and dream of it by night. Henry Ford. 46. It is not the employer who pays the wages. Employers only handle the money. It is the customer who pays the wages. Henry Ford. 47. The competitor to be feared is one who never bothers about you at all, but goes on making his own business better all the time. Henry Ford. 48. There is one rule for the industrialist, and that is, make the best quality of goods possible at the lowest cost possible, paying the highest wages possible. Henry Ford. Henry Ford inspirational quotes. 49. As we serve our jobs, we serve the world. Henry Ford. 50. An idealist is a person who helps other people to be prosperous. Henry Ford. 51. Givers have to set limits, because takers rarely do. Henry Ford. 52. To see a thing clearly in the mind makes it begin to take form. Henry Ford. 53. A bore is a person who opens his mouth and puts his feet in it. Henry Ford. 54. Enthusiasm is the yeast that makes your hopes shine to the stars. Enthusiasm is the sparkle in your eyes, the swing in your gait, the grip of your hand, the irresistible surge of will and energy to execute your ideas. Henry Ford. 55. Exercise is bunk. If you are healthy, you don't need it. If you are sick, you should not take it. Henry Ford. 56. I believe God is managing affairs and that He doesn't need any advice from me. With God in charge, I believe everything will work out for the best in the end. So what is there to worry about? Henry Ford. 57. Most people spend more time and energy going around problems than in trying to solve them. Henry Ford. 58. The man who will use his skill and constructive imagination to see how much he can give for $1, instead of how little he can give for $1, is bound to succeed. Henry Ford. 59. The only real security that a man can have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. Henry Ford. 60. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. Henry Ford. 61. You don't have to hold a position in order to be a leader. Henry Ford. 62. It has been my observation that most people get ahead during the time that others waste. Henry Ford. Henry Ford Life Motivational Quotes. 63. Experience is the thing of supreme value. Henry Ford. 64. Life is a series of experiences, each one of which makes us bigger, even though sometimes it is hard to realize this. For the world was built to develop character, and we must learn that the setbacks and griefs which we endure help us in our marching onward. Henry Ford. 65. We don't want tradition. We want to live in the present, and the only history that is worth a tinker's damn is the history we make today. Henry Ford. 66. Wealth, like happiness, is never attained when sought after directly. It comes as a byproduct of providing a useful service. Henry Ford. 67. Whatever you have, you must either use or lose. Henry Ford. Self-Improvement Quotes by Henry Ford. 68. Don't find fault. Find a remedy. Henry Ford. 69. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. Henry Ford. 70. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. Henry Ford. 71. Nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small jobs. Henry Ford. 72. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. Henry Ford. 73. One of the greatest discoveries a man makes, one of his great surprises, is to find he can do what he was afraid he couldn't do. Henry Ford. 74. There are no big problems, there are just a lot of little problems. Henry Ford. 75. There is no man living that cannot do more than he thinks he can. Henry Ford. 76. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Henry Ford. 77. Whether you believe you can do a thing or not, you are right. Henry Ford. 78. Whether you think that you can or that you can't, you are usually right. Henry Ford. 79. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. Henry Ford. I hope you liked the above Henry Ford quotes. Don't forget to mention the best line that you liked most from the above lines in the comment box below.
Thank you for listening this audiobook. I am very happy to share with you. If you like this audiobook, please subscribe and support my channel and leave comments.